it's very difficult to make that narrative work, right? The narrative that Donald Trump's rhetoric somehow boomeranged on him, and that is why in the space of 8 weeks, 2 separate people have tried to shoot him 2 separate times. Very difficult to explain how that narrative works. How it isn't, in fact, that the people who did this were driven by, Donald Trump's opponents. That maybe it has more to do with people hating Trump and then radical whack jobs who hate Trump listening to the people who hate Trump and then going and doing evil things. So what do? They have to play up the situation in Springfield, Ohio. And they have to play up the eating the dogs and eating the cats thing. Now, here's what we know. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine came out yesterday, and he said they've had something like 33 bomb threats. All of them have been hoaxes, and many of them have been foreign. Here was the governor of Ohio, who, by the way, is no great ally of President Trump, yesterday in Springfield.
At least 33 separate bomb threats, each one of which has been responded to, and each one of whom has been found as a hoax. So 33 threats, 33 hoax. I want to make that very, very clear. None of these had any validity at all.
Okay, and he would go on to say that many of those hoaxes were driven by foreign sources, that the calls were actually coming from outside the country. But according to the left, this is the worst thing happening in American politics today, not the attempted assassination of one of the major candidates and the former president. The worst thing happening is that Donald Trump said a thing about the Haitian residents of Springfield, Ohio. Now, again, I've seen no evidence that the residents of Springfield, Ohio, who are Haitian, are eating the cats and eating the dogs. Right? That evidence has not yet come to light. What I have seen is a lot of social problems in Springfield, Ohio. I'm not a big fan of trafficking in stories that are completely unverified or just based on anecdotal evidence. I tend not to take them super seriously until there's been some sort of confirming evidence. With that said, the idea that the big story of the week, after someone again tries to shoot Trump in the head allegedly, that the big story of the week is that Trump and Vance said a thing about eating the cats and eating the dogs, and that that's the true source of American political violence is pretty wild. But that's exactly what the Democrats are trying to retail. And there are big differences between how the right thinks about the left and how the left thinks about the right. But here's something everyone can agree on. You're paying too much for your cell phone bill. Everybody knows this. The big phone providers, they want you to believe you need unlimited data so they can overcharge you. Here's the fact. Most of you are buying way more data than you will ever need. With PureTalk, my cell phone company, you can choose how much data you actually want and you can save. Listen to this. For just $35 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot on America's most dependable 5G network. You know what you can do with that much data? You can browse the internet for 500 hours. You can stream 3,000 songs. You can watch 30 hours of video. That's if you're not on Wi-Fi. Here is the best part. When you switch your cell phone service to PureTalk on a qualifying plan, you get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus Insider. That's access to the full library of DW Plus movies, series, and documentaries, including Lady Ballers, What is a Woman, Mr. Bertram, and Run, Hide, Fight. Plus, uncensored ad-free daily shows, 1 year free of our kids platform Bentkey, and your very own free Leftist Tears Tumblr. The only way you can get this special offer, head on over to puretalk.com/Shapiro or call and mention my name. Stop overpaying for your cell phone plan. Go to puretalk.com/Shapiro today. Switch to a qualifying plan. Get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus Insider. So, for example, here is former Alabama Senator Doug Jones saying, look what's happening to that poor town. That poor town, all because of Trump. There were no problems in Springfield, Ohio, until Trump and Vance made problems.
Look what is happening to that poor town up there. Canceling events, canceling classes, shutting down classes in the university where they're having to go online. That's not the way people want to live, and that's exactly the way people will live if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance get elected.
Okay, MSNBC's Mark McKinnon. He says, the political violence that Trump is talking about, it's coming from him because of the eating the cats and the eating the dogs.
The Republicans want to get into a back and forth or check the record on who's raised the heat on the violent rhetoric more than the other party. I think they're in a bad position there. But to your point about about creating stories, that's just a nice way of dressing it up. What they're saying is we lied about it. We lied about it in order to bring something that we think is a good political issue for us. And a consequence of that is what we're seeing now, which is just what you're talking about, violence. They're having bomb threats in schools over a story that they, quote, created, that they lied about. So they're the ones, that's an exact example in Springfield right now of them raising the rhetoric, raising the heat on a false story, on a lie that's created a bomb threat at schools. So you don't have to look too far to see where the problem's coming from.
Now, again, what this comes down to is what I said at the very beginning of the show. For people on the left, or people who hate Trump at this point, anybody who disagrees with them is an emissary of evil whose brain has probably been thwarted by Trump, which means your opposition to their policy agenda puts you in that camp. You know, talk about ramping up the rhetoric and creating massive divisions in American society. That's precisely how to do it. I mean, look at Joe Biden. So yesterday, Joe Biden, who, believe it or not, is still the president of the United States. It is astonishing to me how the biggest story in the country is not that we have a senile man as president of the United States, the most powerful person on earth, does not have a functioning brain at this point, and everybody's just kind of going about their business. So I got to say, well done by the founders for constructing a system so uniquely durable that we can put somebody fully brain dead in the presidency and everything kind of keeps going. Anyway, Joe Biden was speaking at the National Historically Black Colleges Conference, and he suggested that talking about what's going on in Springfield, Ohio, puts the values of DEI under attack.
But today, affirmative action and the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion are under attack like not long since I started as a young civil rights guy. Books are being banned. History is being erased. HBCUs have received bomb threats. And right now, lies and hate are being spread about Haitian Americans in Ohio. It's wrong. It's simply wrong. And it must stop.
It's all about DEI. It's part of a broader attack on our values, the soul of America, and it must be stopped. The problem is if you keep saying that over and over and over, someone might take you seriously. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.